So I've definitely talked about 4 of the guys that are going to be in this video a few times on my channel, but we might as well pack them all into one thing and try to get some views out of it. And we're going to start with Jahlil Okafor of the 76ers. In today's NBA, this type of a dude, the slow-footed post-up center, it's just not ideal, you know? Enes Kanter comes off the bench, Greg Monroe comes off the bench, and Jahlil Okafor saw the same treatment as he had Joel Embiid in front of him. Embiid is a defensive player who can do more than just post up around the rim. But I don't think Okafor's value is like completely dead. I think in today's NBA, front offices are going to start giving these type of guys less money with the expectations of they're going to come off the bench. There's going to be times when they just can't play, specifically like how we just saw with Enes Kanter in the first round against the Rockets, where the dude barely played more than like 10 minutes a game. He's getting paid $17 million. I think Okafor would be in a similar position, so I could see someone trading for him right now. He's making, what, $4 or $5 million a season, and then re-signing him to be the 6th man to make maybe like 9 or 10 a season. I think that's pretty good for the offensive output that Okafor can still give you. And to be fair to the guy, we've never seen him on a team with more shooting and perhaps a few more defenders around him. I mean, if he's got like a power forward next to him who can play some defense as well as shoot, who he could share some minutes with, that could be valuable. And I do think he could still be a good offensive option. Scoring inside is valuable no matter how good you are at the other things, but there does have to be a limitation on how much you can actually play, as well as how much money you actually make. Now, Jimmy Butler recently came out and said that he would like to stay with the Chicago Bulls, and he would hope that they re-sign Rajon Rondo. The Bulls are in just a very awkward position. There is a chance that Dwayne Wade would leave, as he's, 35 years old and doesn't have too much time left. He'd probably want to go to a winning team. And Jimmy Butler is fantastic with not too much time left on his contract. And the Bulls are just, they're okay. You know, they have 41 wins or something, and they had to fight to the last week to get into the playoffs. Sure, they made the first round exciting for a bit against the Celtics, but it's look at the team, you know? If Jimmy Butler's not there, they're probably winning, 25, 30 games, 35 at the most. There's a lot of questions about how good of a coach Fred Hoiberg is. There's no young star on the team who you look at and go, oh yeah, that can be the number 2 guy behind Jimmy for an extended period of time. Chicago just doesn't have a lot of options to get better, unless they just kill it with some trades or they find some guys who no one's really paying attention to who can be big-time players for them. Trading Jimmy just might be your only option to really get yourself going on a rebuild, nonetheless, and rebuilds are not fun. But if it's between just being in the same spot with his contract running out or being a younger team who can build towards the future with draft picks and exciting young players, that might be the option to go. I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, you can have the winning team around Jimmy Butler, but the reality is the Bulls, they don't have too many options going for them right now. Similar thing can be said for Paul George of the Indiana Pacers, who just recently had quite a good display in the postseason against the Cavaliers, besides one game where he wasn't that good. But there was also a lot of drama about him and his teammates. He said that CJ Miles has to get him the ball in the very last shot. He was talking about how Lance Stevenson needs to channel his emotions. Larry Bird just stepped down as the president of basketball operations. It just seems like there's a trend setting in Indiana, and with all the rumors of him wanting to go to the Lakers or just to be on a winning team, Paul George, he might be saying to them, get me out of here right now. And his contract, similar to Jimmy Butler's, does not have too much time on it either. So the Pacers may be faced with the odd situation of, we can have Paul George for one more season on our team that probably isn't going to win too many more games because they're not very impressive on either side of the floor unless Miles Turner just blows up. And then we could lose him, or we can just trade him now and get ahead of the curb. It's not a fun situation to be in, which I'm pretty sure I said for Jimmy Butler's spot as well, but it's the reality, man. There's been rumors of the Lakers wanting to get Paul George. I mean, if you were able to get a draft pick or two from them as well as one young player, like, hell, maybe you do it at that point. Or maybe you stick it out and hope you can turn this team into a winner by next season. And good luck with that one, I say. PG's days in Indiana, they could be numbered. And now Carmelo Anthony. I mean, this situation has been talked about quite a bit, including by me. I'm 100% on Carmelo Anthony's side for just the whole situation with him and Phil Jackson this season. I think Phil has been immature, unprofessional, insecure, whatever the hell you want to say. But unfortunately, all of that did happen, and Carmelo's relationship with the Knicks is not looking too good, I would assume. I mean, hell, Porzingis isn't even happy with them, and he's only in his second season. So I think the Knicks would definitely have to get rid of Phil Jackson, because I feel like if they didn't, then Melo would interpret that as, well, clearly you guys don't want me anymore. But who knows if they're actually going to do that. But even then, I mean, you know, he's up there in age and they're not a good team. And of course, he would love to be on a winner. The problem is he just has that no trade clause. But, you know, I feel like Melo would open it up a little bit more. For a while, it was like he'll either go to the Cavs or the Clippers. And there was something about he would decline it for the Celtics or whatever. I think he would open that up a little bit more just to get out of the situation in New York and perhaps go to a team that could be very good, but maybe not a title contender, but right on the brink. I don't know. I just have to assume that Melo just wants to get the hell up out of New York at this point, and it would be in the Knicks' best favor to facilitate that by trading him, getting a youth movement in there around Porzingis, and still firing Phil Jackson because he sucks. Now, this one is pretty recent, actually. Dwight Howard... Newsflash, Dwight Howard is not happy with his role on an NBA team, which is like the millionth time we've heard that one. The problem is Dwight Howard thinks he's better than he actually is at this point. He feels that he should be a post-up player getting the ball frequently, when in reality, he's a run, jump, dunk, set screens, protect the rim center. And for what it's worth, he can still be very valuable in that role. He's strong as hell, he's still decently athletic. He might not be the defensive juggernaut that he was with the Orlando Magic, but he is still pretty good on that side of the floor, and he can still be effective in a pick-and-roll offense, finishing at the rim, catching alley-oops, grabbing offensive rebounds, but he just doesn't want to play that role. I mean, that's why he's not in Houston anymore, because he didn't just want to set screens for James Harden all day long. So I was hearing a report that the Hawks would get like a second-round pick for him. I mean, that sounds a little low. I understand his stock has fallen and there's a lot of character questions. Actually, maybe it's not that ridiculous because he has a real track record at this point. Dwight, you need an attitude adjustment. Would the Hawks really trade him? I mean, maybe, if they sense Paul Millsap's going to be on the way out as well.